You're everyone. I'm Wally, and the rest of the listeners are Brennan, and we're roasting chips, yes.
Bros, but it's Nickelodeon characters.
Yeah.
What?
What an intro. Yes, Smash Bros. But
Oh wait, have you started recording? Why did we start recording there?
because
That was-
RJ was singing "I'm Ready," but it counted down. So,
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
but hello everyone.
How's it going?
It's I hope everyone's having a good time.
I'm having a good time.
RJ and I are here to say that we are sorry. We have not done any real shit in a while.
Yeah,
Mostly my fault.
I was gonna say I was
Completely my
gonna
fault.
blame it on the aliens again, but
Oh yes, them pesky aliens. But here's a podcast we said we were going to bring you like 2 weeks ago.
1 week ago, right?
no,
No, 2 weeks ago.
Oh, well, we talked
Or no,
about 3
last-
weeks ago, but
okay,
it was
yeah.
supposed to be 1 week ago.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
The other one that was supposed to be 2 weeks ago was 1 week ago, which pushed this one to 0 weeks
Stop
ago.
it! You're confusing. It's already getting confusing. We haven't even gotten into anything yet.
What if me and Brennan recorded things on time?
Yeah. That'll just be like a dystopian future going to be on fire. All that,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Nothing would be right.
There'd
But
be lots of sand for some reason. Just
I hate sand.
I don't like
Yeah.
sand.
Rough and coarse. And
It's everywhere.
So before we get into the news, I'd like to say something. If you're following insiders on Twitter, this is for everyone. Unfollow them before a movie comes out because I've had the Carnage, I Let There Be Carnage post-credit scene ruined for me by an insider.
no.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh man.
I mean, I only read a little bit, but I'm still mad of what I read.
Do
Would
not spoil it for me. My fingers aren't doing.
I'm not
anything.
going to.
I have my headphones in my ears underneath them right here.
oh man, so am I the only one that's seen it? That's
Yes. Oh my God, it's backwards.
it's very bad.
Usually we have seen it. You have.
Because
Have you seen Shang?
Nope.
Oh man.
Carnage and Shang-Chi.
Yeah, I've got to look.
November 12th is soon.
They're different continuities as far as you know, so
Exactly.
No, you're probably are seeing them in in the correct order though, because I was very confused when when Shang-Chi was doing his big battle and then Carnage just appeared out of nowhere and he was like, "I'm here as I promised," and
I
the previous movie, and I was like, "What's
like,
going on?"
upset with you, Brennan. Oh man.
You know what, Brennan? You're right. That didn't make any sense when that movie was happening. God. But yeah, so I had that spoiled for me. RJ, don't tell us anything about it.
I mean, all I will say is I'm like a little bit disappointed in this movie, but it was still good.
That's what I've heard.
That's all I'll say until you guys watch it.
Yeah. Okay.
Interesting.
Well, I'm wearing a sweatshirt trying to pretend it's cold. So let's get into news.
News.
It's hot. Anyway,
There's been a lot of stuff going on.
yeah, there has been. I probably things I didn't write down because I don't have much. But in an interview on Monday, Diego Luna confirmed that Andor has finished filming. This is the first piece of news we've gotten from Andor.
Since it was announced, pretty much.
Pretty much. Like, we got the information, it was a thing in December, and this is the first piece of news we've gotten since.
Didn't
But,
even about it like starting production, really.
yeah. The Lucasfilms has kept this pretty much under lock and key this entire time, which means, well, I don't know what that means.
I mean, it's Lucasfilms. They do that. They've done that pretty much with all of their movies.
That's
And
true.
yeah, it's either that they kept it under lock and key, or it's such a short series that filming was all done in one day. So the same day, it's like they did like the pre-production scripting and stuff, and then they filmed it. And that's all in the same day because it's gonna be each episode is like a minute long, and there's 3 of them.
Oh my god!
So what I've heard is that they're just reskinning the Star Wars Christmas special or holiday special with Andor, with Cassie and Andor.
No.
Yeah. It's just all the scenes, but then they just insert random clips of Andor, the character of the planet. I always forget
The
who Andor
character,
is.
yeah.
Andor's
It
the
sounds
guy,
like
right?
it sounds like a planet, but it's a person.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it sounds like Endor, but like the planet right next to it is like Andor, and then there's like Odor, like right.
AEIOU door.
There's a whole value solar system.
It's the vowel system.
But it's just like the grainy Star Wars holiday special footage, and then like HD footage of like Andor just spliced into like all of it.
And then at the end, everyone dies.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I hope
Which is
there's
much
more
better
than 6
ending for
episodes.
this. It would be a much better ending for the Star Wars holiday special. Just can you imagine if instead of Chewbacca being reunited with his family, the Empire just came in and just decimated the entire planet?
Oh my god, that reminds me. So I'm reading this book. It's about Han and It's about Han and Lando, right? And they're
Ooh.
about to go to Kashyyyk to go pick up Chewie. I will let you know for sure, but I'm pretty sure they canonize in that book. They canonized his family, like
Really?
Oh
officially.
yeah.
Yeah, like the little what was the kid's name? Like Scratchy or something like that.
Scratchy, itchy.
No, that was the grandfather. The grandfather
Oh,
was
yeah.
itchy. Yeah, it was,
Yeah.
it was- and he watched
That
some
is-
weird dancing thing.
Yeah.
Have you seen the Star Wars Holiday Special?
No.
RJ?
Mm-mm.
You
Oh,
should
good.
keep it that way. Yeah.
I've been like debating on whether or not I need to like force myself because I've seen like parts of it.
Watch it with our commentation over it.
Yeah, no, I mean, honestly, I will say that like watching it was a pretty fun experience. But we had to watch it in like 4 parts because it's way too much to watch in like one sitting. Just how horrible every element of it is,
So
and you
bad.
have to like you you like have to like manually find stuff for yourself to like laugh at, be like, hey, that's a funny thing now because it's so bad. Because otherwise, if you just watch it like as a straight movie,
Yeah.
you drive yourself insane
Ah,
because it's
man.
not good.
It's
I
bad. It's bad.
watch it. I'm gonna have to watch it with somebody then because
I do feel more fulfilled having seen it now, just because I can look back and be like, wow, that was terrible. And I had a fun experience.
man.
But we have a date for Book of Boba Fett.
Oh yeah.
Will premiere on December 29th, and I also saw a set of screenshots that leaked the titles of all 8 episodes. If you want to hear that, I can go into it. Or you can go into it blind, but
So wait, how many episodes are there?
8.
8?
8. Just like, I think that's how many's in Mando, if I remember correctly.
That's pretty good. Are they like Mando-sized episodes?
I would imagine.
I would hope so.
But the names of the episodes are The Champion, The Assassin, The Syndicate, The Battleground, The Homeworld, The
Ooh.
Warlord, The Showdown, and The Hunter.
His son's name was Lumpy. I just had to look that up. That's why my focus was off screen from it there. His son's name was Lumpy.
That's right. It was Lumpy. Chewbacca's
All the
kid's
way
name was
back.
Lumpy.
Bring it all the way back around town.
Boba Fett's son is not Lumpy.
Yeah,
Chewbacca's name is
just to clarify.
That's the episode title, Lumpy.
I actually have heard in
Jesus Christ.
Hello.
Why did you do it? I believe in you.
It's never that funny.
That's the best part about it.
I have heard in the book of Boba Fett actually gets a sidekick, and it is Chewbacca's son Lumpy. It's he becomes the new Baby Yoda. They go on all kinds of adventures together. Boba Fett and Lumpy.
Fett and
He also
Lumpy.
becomes a Jedi at the very end.
Oh my god.
No, Lumpy becomes a Sith Lord, and then it's Grogu versus Lumpy in like a
Lumpy.
movie event.
Oh my god. But so Homeworld, there means I guess they're going back to Mandalore.
It's about time. I thought,
Yeah, you're right.
Or not
I thought they
Mandalore.
would save that for the season, like 3 of Mando?
Which they still might.
Or like a not well, because it could either be that or it could be a Camino, right?
Right, that's true.
That's
It's also
true.
Camino.
That's
It's
true.
true.
Because this is supposed to be like, well,
He's
no,
underwater now, so I don't
I
know.
was gonna say, yeah, this is like after all the stuff with the Bad Batch happens.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So there would be
Mhm.
that would be
Speaking of,
interesting though if they do go back to Camino. I kind of want to see because there's got to be more than just that one facility, you know? Because that was just a
Right.
cloning facility. What about the rest of
That's
the
true.
planet?
it would be absolutely. It would just the idea of an entire planet where there's just one tiny city on it, and the rest is just completely just ocean. Imagine how precise your like coordinates would have to be if you go on the other side of the planet. You have to fly all the way around just to land somewhere.
Uh,
I mean, it's
um,
coherent.
um, a lot of people were speculating the showdown with the news we got about Cad Bane last week is going to be the Lost Clone Wars arc where we finally get that showdown between Cad Bane and Boba Fett.
Wait, what news did we receive about Cad Bane last week?
Oh, that he's going to be in of Boba Fett,
Oh,
Wait,
but
really?
he's going to be ancient. Yeah, he's going to be ancient, but like, yeah, it's Star Wars. Who cares? I
Wow.
mean, Boba Fett's alive. I mean, so can Cad Bane.
I mean, that's crazy though, because Cad Bane is like my third favorite bounty hunter.
I love Cad Bane.
So to
He's
see
awesome.
him like live action is gonna be insane.
I know. I know.
There was this scene in like a Brooklyn I-9 where like there's this detective who 30 years ago had this arch nemesis
Oh, yeah.
like this like serial killer guy, and then
I
like
remember this.
30 years go by, and then like the guy like allegedly dies, and everyone's like, oh yeah, he died because he was like 90 years old. There's a car explosion or whatever.
Jesus.
And one of the detectives was like, he set this up. He's behind this, whatever. He's alive still. And like all signs point to him being dead, but then they finally find out at the end of the episode that he actually is alive and he escaped. And the guy who's on seems to be an epic showdown. So he goes and like, hey, I knew it was you. I knew you did this. And he's just sitting there, he's like, what is this super old wrinkly dude? He can't even hear him.
Stop.
And then, it's great scene. That's fully what I'm expecting now with like Cad Bane. Like everyone's expecting like Cad Bane to be this like prime like old dude with prime. So he's gonna be like this like hobbling around on a cane or whatever. You're like, you're Cad Bane. And he's like, I can't hear you. I'm so sorry. Yeah.
No.
You know how Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy are sometimes.
Yes.
He's gonna be like that.
Yeah,
It's gonna be
he's
that.
exactly like that.
That'd be hilarious.
What? And then other people, finally the Syndicate. People were thinking that Kira and from Solo and Red Dawn are gonna show up in that episode. So some interesting speculation there.
You know.
So yeah. And then since Kira's played such an important role in the recent comics for War of the Bounty Hunters, it makes sense. So, and, next piece
Love the
of
Bounty
news
Hunters, man.
is for our rich viewers. So like, no one. The Star Wars Hotel will open at Disney on March 1st, 2022. And when I wrote just putting that out there in case any of our listeners have $4,000 to throw away.
That's crazy. Is that like $4,000 for one night?
Yes. No. $4,000
Oh.
for 2 nights.
My heart.
I mean, either way, that's still,
it's still not much better, but
it's horrible.
$2,000 a night, and that's only for 2 people. I think if it's 4 people, it's like 6,200.
What?
Yep.
nice.
Yeah. So
That's insane.
For that price, I actually want them to transport me to a galaxy far, far away.
Yeah, I want them to
whole
like
experience.
give me some like drugs or something. Some, like peyote so I can experience the galaxy, you know?
put you give you some peyote and stick you in the mission space for an hour.
Yeah, honestly. Or just have me ride the Star Wars rides and just tell me that I'm on a spaceship.
Yeah. Or it's just a normal hotel and they pump it so full of drugs like through the vents or whatever, and they're like, "This is a expensive hotel," and you're like, "Wow."
But it's actually just a fast western.
Fucking Motel 6. Anyway, so on the Marvel news, I was looking back through my notes. Apparently, I used to like split things into like Marvel and Star Wars news. Apparently, I've gotten lazy. Anyway, so Daniel Richter, the guy who ruined the end scene for Venom for me, an influencer and insider who leaks a lot of information that I have quoted before, said Echo, the Disney TV Plus show, will somewhat act as a season 4 of Daredevil. There is absolutely nothing that backs this up anywhere, but Twitter has decided to take it and run with it.
That would be insane. That wouldn't make any sense.
No, not at all.
So wait, what's Echo supposed to be about?
I would love that.
It's supposed to be about Echo, the superhero.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I don't like
this. That's not to be confused with Echo, who's the Ben 10 alien. That's a different person entirely. Just in case there's any confusion between.
Oh, okay.
Any of our
just
our viewers here. Yeah.
Make sure,
Clear in the air.
Don't want to get any angry comments.
No.
But I don't like this rumor because it takes away from Echo, who is would be the first female Indigenous lead for a white Catholic guy. Now he's blind, sure, but still, I don't know.
And
that's just how I am. And yeah. It's just a lot of people were saying it make more sense for him to appear in other shows like Hawkeye or She-Hulk or something, or Spider-Man: No Way Home.
Yeah, I mean, I would absolutely love for him to have some kind of role in like all of the shows. And I know with Echo, I'm pretty sure their characters are related. Like not like their characters do stuff in the comics together and like all that. But I definitely don't want him to have a starring role. I don't want that to be like a season 4 for him. That wouldn't make sense.
Well, and Echo is the adopted daughter of Kingpin, so I feel like he'll definitely probably make a comeback. Or at least she is in the comics. I don't know. We don't know anything about Echo in the MCU, but so maybe he'll make a comeback, or at least he's rumored to make a comeback anyway. But and then, last but not least, the most important news: James Gunn tweeted out recently that he plans to introduce one of the quote-unquote best MCU characters of all time in the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special, and that character is Chewbacca and his family. Oh, yeah. They're literally just re-releasing Star Wars Holiday Special.
Not Chewbacca, it's Lumpy specifically.
That's right. That's right. Played by
Mark Hamill. Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, the Book of Boba Fett will end with like Lumpy and Boba Fett walking through a portal to who knows where. We'll find out in the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special.
Right. Well, is that coming out this year?
Next year. Holiday season next year.
No, it was.
Or is it 2023? No, it is 2022.
2023, I think. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. It comes out not this year. That's all I know.
The best Marvel character, though. Who do you guys think he's referring to? Like, actually?
Actually? Oh.
Yeah. Like,
I saw speculation of Adam Warlock. I think that's definitely a possibility. They've definitely teased him a lot in the MCU.
Who's the most obscure character I could name right now?
I don't know. He's too obscure for you. What did you say?
Sentry.
Okay, that's a good option.
I mean, he's an obscure enough character to just kind of throw in at this point. Because I'm getting a little upset with Marvel. They're just kind of throwing characters around. Just be like, hey, he's cool. Hey, they're funny. This is fine.
Buy more toys! That's what they're doing. They're introducing characters for toys.
I actually just got word from Mark Hamill, who's like right off screen right here. I promise he's like right there.
But he's over. How can he be over there when he's over here?
Well, I mean, there's just a bunch of Mark Hamills who are around still.
Well, we're all Mark Hamill, so realistically.
Yeah. But actually, Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special, it'll be Uncle Ben, who we'll see for the first time in the MCU. He's just been off in space this whole time.
He was shot with a transportation gun.
The one Uncle Ben that hasn't died. That universe doesn't have a Spider-Man.
It was just like with like the Red Skull, got the space. It was the Space Stone, right? He zoomed off wherever. It's the same thing with like Uncle Ben, just unrelated.
When he was leaving, when Red Skull was getting blasted off to space, Uncle Ben was flying overhead at the same time, and he just happened to grab Uncle Ben's hand, and there you go.
Yeah, Uncle Ben was that black.
Like the 40s, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Uncle Ben was in the that one like Doctor Strange leak back in the day when it was just the little black thing in the background. Y'all remember that?
No.
Yes. Yeah, right?
what was it? WandaVision?
Yeah. It's like that shadow thing that
Yeah,
it's like it's Doctor Strange. There's like
that's
that
Uncle
was Uncle
Ben.
Ben
Oh,
actually.
that yeah.
That's Uncle Ben.
That's
Yeah.
Uncle Ben. Just flying up in the sky.
Yeah,
He's T posing to certain
he came to
parts.
give Wanda some encouragement.
Is, is Uncle Ben an all knowing being? Is he the Watcher?
I feel like at some point in one of the universes, he gets made into like a Watcher because like he's Uncle Ben.
Exactly.
I mean, and it's the multiverse where anything is possible now.
Anything is possible.
So on that note, what if? Because that's all the news I have, unless you guys have more news.
No.
The only news that I have is that at some point recently here, Brooklyn Nine-Nine had its series finale.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So like it's like done. It's over, and I just watched that tonight actually,
Wow.
and it's was pretty good. They obviously changed a lot of stuff in like the recent series here. Like it was still very much a like a cop show, but like they wanted to like they rewrote like their entire last season, and it actually
Oh yeah.
it 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 kind of worked. There's a lot of stuff of them blatantly staring in the camera and like like that whole vibe being like things are bad and like here's why and all that stuff. But like it was kind of the only way that they could have done it, and it kind of worked, and it allowed them to wrap up the series well. Gave all the characters good endings. So I hadn't I didn't watch that show in like a good couple of years. I went and like re-binged the entire thing until season finale. I was like, huh, they they the characters are happy now, so that's
That's
cool.
good.
Now I'm out of shows to watch again here, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I have to go back and I wanted to wait and binge it. I just haven't gotten to binge it yet. Um, but I finished or I caught up on both the animes I'm watching. So
Which
that's
one?
good.
nice.
My Hero and not Black Clover. What's the other one called? Demon Slayer.
Demon
So
Slayer.
now,
Ah,
if
yeah.
I'm remembering conversations from past podcasts correctly, both those series are going to be canceled now.
No.
Shit.
No, don't say
No,
that,
probably
Brendan.
not.
Don't say that, Brendan. There's a new movie coming out for
Demon Slayer, yeah.
My Hero, and there's a new
That's
season of Demon Slayer coming out. So don't say that. It's not getting canceled. Everything's
And-
fine.
Well, see,
And the movie's
that's
coming,
what that's what it was supposed to be until Wally watched the series, is and now because he did that because of that one action.
Well, now that we've gotten through season 5 without any news about anything other than new stuff, then I feel like we'll be okay.
All right.
Demon Slayer, I don't know. The manga is really short compared to everything else, so that's going to be over soon because they're going to finish the story. That's different, though. It's different than just shutting it off in the middle like they did with Full Metal Alchemist a couple times. So
they're also adding the Demon Slayer movie to Funimation and Crunchyroll, I think,
really,
on October 10th. Yeah, it's
about
the train arc.
yeah, the Mugen Train. That's supposed to be the first. I think they said 7 episodes of this new season. So that's pretty
Okay.
much for the season, and then the last half is like the rest of that arc.
Yeah,
Oh,
because like I was like excited to like watch that, and like I saw that people were talking about it online, and like, wait, where is it? And I couldn't find it. I was starting to freak out that I was going to see spoilers and whatnot.
Yeah.
Oh, and one more piece of news, I guess, that I just remembered here is like I'd heard a lot about a certain pilot for a show that isn't out yet, but I didn't necessarily know a whole lot about it until I watched an in-depth video of like parts of the script for this pilot. I think we may have mentioned this like several episodes ago. We may not have, but on the CG CW, there was a live action adaptation of the Powerpuff Girls in the works.
Yeah.
And if you haven't seen clips from the script yet, look them
Yeah.
up because literally they filmed the pilot, and then the producers or whatever was like, this needs to be redone completely because
Yeah.
it was
I would
bad by
imagine.
CW standards.
I don't even look. I love the Powerpuff Girls. Don't get me wrong. That was one of my favorite cartoons as a kid. But don't bring that shit to live action. The way they already tried to do the remake and fuck that up and turned it into a meme, a horrible one at that. I don't know, man. I just leave
Let
that
me just
alone.
let me just describe parts of the like of the pilot here because all
God,
the Powerpuff Girls are like 25 years old now.
fucking gross.
And there is so much sex and alcohol and just drug use throughout the entire pilot.
Absolutely disgusting.
And it's like, why? Like, I mean, like the story already isn't great, but it's like, why is it told through the lens of the Powerpuff Girls? Why did you choose this medium, or this not even a medium? This like these characters to tell this story through?
Sounds like a Mean Girls movie.
Because like
Yes, it
the
does.
mayor is the son of Mojo Jojo, who in this universe was a person,
What?
but then the mayor has a pet like monkey, probably as an homage to the character of Mojo Jojo. But it's so bizarre. It's so
I
bizarre.
I brought
That's
this up
It's,
back in June on an episode of, like, we recorded it June 4th. I brought this
yeah.
up. So it's been out for a while. I'm surprised you just now saw it.
No, like I'd seen stuff from it, like I'd seen talk about it, but I hadn't seen like actual clips from the script.
Oh yeah, it's bad.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Man,
And
that's horrible.
it's like they looked at like a Riverdale, the series that they had, based on a comic strip that was like so
Upbeat
unrelated
and
to
happy.
anything in the comic strip, and they're like, how
Yes.
can we duplicate this but do it worse?
That's exactly what they did. Yeah.
Riverdale's not even that bad.
Yeah, because but if you looked at, do you know what the source material is?
Yeah, the Archie comics.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Archie comics.
Yeah,
It makes
it's
the
so
what?
far removed from anything.
It is a little
It's
weird.
only bad if you look at it at the source material.
Yeah. It's
I'm sure it's a fine show,
yeah.
but
The series itself, I'm sure is fine. Like it's, I've seen. I mean, of course, the one clip everyone knows from it is like the guy talking about whatever, and the guy's like, you've never experienced, true whatever until you've seen like the epic highs and lows of high school football. Just that iconic line there. But yeah, but then like it's like that's like how far removed it is from any sense of like what the Archie comics were, and it's like, oh, let's just do that again with like the Powerpuff Girls. That's just
Of all
another
things,
great movie out
Powerpuff
there.
Girls, though.
Yeah,
it almost seems like
It's-
they, like, a bunch of, like, people from the baby boomers and Gen X were like, all right, what do teens like? Oh, they like the Powerpuff Girls. All right, what else do they like? They like being 25. All right, well, you got it. All right, we got it. Let's go. Sex, drugs, alcohol. And then that was the mantra for that. That was in the writing room. They had put up on the board, and on the board it said sex, drugs, Powerpuff Girls.
I mean, I feel like their like actual true test run was the Spring Breakers movie, because that's pretty much, the same thing, what it sounds like at least.
and also the other thing that I didn't realize until I was going through an article and like I saw like the names of the actresses, but I'm pretty sure the actress who was set to play the main Powerpuff Girl was that Blossom. Is that it?
I
Yeah.
didn't watch it when I was younger, so I
Yes.
have no idea.
Blossom, Bubbles, and
Yeah.
Buttercup. Yes.
Yeah, she was set to be played by, I'm pretty sure, the actress who played Daisy in Agents of Shield.
Oh,
It's
okay.
a little weird, but okay.
Yeah, she is no longer set to be played by her because after the pilot was filmed, the CW was like, "Yeah, this needs some work." She was like, "I'm not coming back for this now." So
I mean, understandable.
that
I'm
that
sorry.
would have been an interesting step in her career. I know that like that acting, it's like
Oh
very
no, my
hard to
internet's
get
just
like,
absolutely
you know,
screwing up.
good reliable gigs and everything. But kind of going from Agents of Shield to like that, it's just a
Yeah,
whole nother. Um, it's just like DCW has some great content and like some great like just shows for and all that, but like getting involved in the Powerpuff Girls live action on the CW just seems like a weird choice to like to voluntarily do when you've like had more success in other elements of your career. And I don't know, maybe they'll rework it, maybe it'll be a good series, but
no,
if this is
mm-mm,
the step they're taking here,
mm-mm.
not looking good for that.
No. If it's not a kid show, like a live action kid show or something like that, then there's no reason for it to exist.
Yeah,
I'm
if
sorry.
not,
I understand the nostalgia of it, but I
mhm.
don't want to see the Powerpuff Girls doing all that shit. I want to see them punching a monster for no reason.
Yeah, it's so bizarre, especially when you take like Mojo Jojo, like the colorful monkey character, and make him like a human.
They return you. You're actually like a perfect clone of.
So okay, did the
Oh,
whole
we're back. We're
So what,
live.
what were you guys talking about before my computer rudely interrupted me?
I don't know where we left off. Just we were ranting about the Powerpuff
I
Girls.
don't want to
Okay,
talk
that's fair.
about Powerpuff Girls anymore. My brain hurts.
Yeah. Let's get into some what
Some
if,
yeah,
or what's the other thing? Is it
What if
only
and Visions?
what if
Star
Envision?
Wars Visions? Star Wars Visions.
Whichever you guys want to talk about first. I mean, Visions. We're not gonna go in depth and stuff like that. We're just gonna be like, oh,
Okay.
here's why I like this episode. Here's why I like this episode. Stuff like that. But in What
Allison
If,
Brie voiced a character
she
in
did.
Visions, and I didn't realize that because like I watched the subbed versions first because on your
Mhm.
guys' recommendation there, and I actually really did like watching the sub versions, especially when I went back and watched uh a version dubbed instead. I was like, no, the subbed is better. It's
Yeah,
the way to
It was
go.
better.
yeah.
So I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so when I went back and watched the Twins episode dubbed, I was like, hey, that voice sounds so familiar. At the very end, it was like Alison Brie,
Oh,
and I was
that's
like,
who that was.
hey, yeah,
That,
yeah, yeah.
Huh.
that's
Yep.
funny.
Okay. All right. So
I
since we're starting with Visions, I
I
mean,
guess we are. Sorry.
Brennan's
I
given us a perspective from someone who doesn't watch anime. So from RJ, who you've been watching anime for as long as I've known you. What did you think of the show?
so I low-key forgot that it existed up until yesterday. Um, but I watched all of it today, and I
Oh
gotta say,
wow.
this is this has been a dream of mine ever since the first animated Star Wars cartoon,
Mhm.
because that was pretty much a Vision's
Yeah,
like
that would,
whole
yeah.
series. But
The Tchaikovsky Clone Wars was built different.
it was truly built different, and Visions seems built just as different.
Hmm.
Because man, I gotta tell you, every single episode, it was like ramping up in like amazement. My brain just could not handle it. I had to take a second and like take a 30-minute break and stop watching the episodes because I was just mind blow, mind blow, mind blow. The
Hmm.
animation is really
So
what got
good.
me.
Hmm.
It was crazy. That one episode, I think it was the twins. I think the twins is probably one of the best episodes, just visually. Because I mean, the scene of him upside down slicing the hole.
The
Oh
holdover
yeah.
remover with a lightsaber.
That was so insane.
It was very reminiscent of the last Star Wars movie where they did the same thing,
The holdo
but with
maneuver. Yeah, the maneuver.
yeah,
But with a
but
lightsaber. It was
right,
epic.
and a giant lightsaber at that.
Uh huh.
Just and that's another thing. They really focused in on like lightsaber mythos, just
Yeah.
the specifics of it too, like with the changing of the color, and then that one Padawan in that episode where she is like playing with it at first and it has no color, but then during the fight it changes to what it's supposed to be, and it changes to green of all things.
Yeah, because when she got her stronger connection to the Force, I thought that was really cool. Apparently, that was
Yeah,
an original idea of George Lucas's. Apparently, he wanted to do that at one point, but decided to go
Oh
not do
wow.
it. I'm glad they resurrected that here.
that was,
That
you know
that was
what
in
though.
Ninth Jedi, I believe.
Yeah. The also that one like Sith dude that had it changed to a purple. Like it
Yeah.
changed because it originally he was a Jedi in the first place, but being surrounded by so many Sith, it like corrupted him. I
Right.
thought having that in there also was like acknowledging the whole Mace Windu's purple lightsaber and his canon or his head canon that everybody has that he was a
Hmm.
Sith that changed over.
Interesting. I actually never thought about that one. But yeah,
Yeah.
it was it was an awesome show. I thought I was gonna watch the English the dub first, and then I ended up watching the sub instead. I just found it to be better. And then I watched the next, and then I watched a couple episodes in Spanish because I can.
Riz.
Um, and so the real question, the big question is, what was your favorite episode? Brennan, start with you.
I have not seen all of them yet, but so far of the ones I've watched, I really liked the twins. A lot of the other
Hmm.
episodes I want, kind of my biggest complaint about the show as a whole is I wish the episodes were longer. I wish they had more time to like explore stories.
Right.
But the one I liked the most was absolutely the twins. I feel like they were able to do a lot with the story
Hmm.
in the short amount of time that they had, and like the visuals were amazing, and just the like the characters. I just wish we could see more of it. Like I wish it wasn't a a one and done. But I think this is kind of like a test for
Hmm.
Disney uh, to do more with this kind of art style.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that would be really neat. I like the art style of the very first episode a lot, but the story in
Yeah.
there I felt was almost like non-existent. It was just short. It was just kind of like a fight scene, an extended fight scene,
Hmm.
I
which
feel
was
like
cool.
that
I love
episode
the
was
lightsaber, like the umbrella thing. That was so dope. And it kind
Yeah.
of was like in Rebels, where they had like the spinning, they would fly with the
The
lightsabers,
helicopter
helicopters.
sabers.
But it was actually it looked cool here as
Mary
opposed to
Poppins
in
ass.
Rebels. Yeah.
Well, we are
Oh
getting an
man.
extended universe in that first episode because I mean I've mentioned this before. That next week, I believe, next Friday, I think, a book called Ronin is coming out, and it expands upon the not the Sith with the umbrella saber, but the other Sith. It expands
Oh
upon
wow.
his background.
Oh
So we'll be
wow,
getting
okay.
more out of that universe next.
Cool.
I think it's. I believe it's November 12th. So I'm excited for that. I'm definitely gonna buy it. Or no, not next month. It's November. It's next month, not next week.
All
But
right.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just very glad that Disney took the very bold step of completely decanonizing all past Star Wars material and making this series the only canon series in all of Star Wars. It was such a bold choice that I really think it paid
Yeah.
off there.
So we'll talk about that in a minute. RJ, what's your favorite?
So I'm a little torn between the Elder
That's a good one.
and what was the other one? The Village Bride.
I
Both
loved the Village Bride.
both of those were like I don't know how I think the how serious they were and
Mhm.
how just intense the battles were.
I
I
like
feel
how
like
they, yeah, I like how they expanded upon the culture of the planet they're on in the Village
yeah
Bride, and I just like how the Jedi. I think she has a name. I just remember what is it. F? Is it
I
E?
can't
What
even
is it?
remember. There were so many
But
different names.
right. But I liked her mental journey throughout that episode, like how she grew as a character. There's a lot of character growth in her in such a
Yeah
short period of time.
yeah
And just her shoes, her high heels, those were cool when they transformed
yeah
and gave
like
her anime speed.
anime speed.
Also, the episode just looked beautiful.
It was probably that one and the twins are probably my favorite, like visually.
Hmm.
But overall, the Elder and um, what was it? God damn it!
Oh, the Village Bride.
Yes, Village Bride and the Elder. Those two are my favorite, like overall.
Hmm.
felt they felt the most anime to me, at least.
Oh yeah, especially the Elder.
Yeah,
That one was a cool episode.
I mean
Really intense.
that old man was crazy. I just can't get over all the different types of lightsabers and everything that they showed, and keeping in like the theme. If it's gonna be like, if they're gonna take from Japanese culture, they're taking from like feudal Japan
Hmm.
and during like samurais and all of that. I thought being able to see the different time periods of like the Star Wars universe merge with that was also really cool too.
Yeah, yeah. When Star Wars, that's where it gets its roots from originally. That's where the Jedi come from. They
Yeah,
draw
Yeah.
their influences from the feudal Japan. But yeah, it's an awesome series. I'm definitely gonna rewatch every episode. I've already think I've gone a second rewatch through. But did you guys? Was there any that like where you were like meh on? I wasn't a big fan of the last episode. The way it looked anyway.
that one was a little underwhelming visually, but I thought it was really interesting to actually see like a sad ending,
Hmm.
like a legitimately like not like sad, but like a negative toned ending. You know,
Hmm.
because sure the girl didn't have to die, but like you know,
Hmm.
it's just I don't know. I don't want to like spoil too much for you, Brendan,
Yeah.
if that's one of the ones you haven't seen, but
I have I have not watched that one yet, but noted to be prepared for a sadder.
I wouldn't even say sad. It's just I don't know, melancholy because it's not.
That's a good word for it.
I wouldn't say it's like bad, like a bad ending kind of thing, but it's not what you would. It's not the happy ending that you would expect from a Star Wars story, especially in the tone that the rest of that episode makes you believe it's going to end up as.
Huh.
So
But yeah, so that's all you guys have to say about that. I thoroughly enjoyed this show. I'm
yeah,
glad Star Wars or Lucasfilms or whoever Disney ventured out into the anime realm, and I hope they keep doing it because this was awesome. And I think the fan reaction mostly has been really positive.
from
Yeah,
what
and
I've seen, yeah,
I would
Yeah.
absolutely love to see more franchises kind of like make moves like this, where it's not just the same thing over and over and over. They're really trying to like diversify what they have.
Hmm.
right. Instead of
Um,
making it a separate category of things to watch, make it just a different art style to use in those
Hmm.
different categories. Like
which
instead of it
is
all just being anime, it could just be like horror or action or whatever, and then the style of it is different in between.
yeah, yeah, and this actually probably is a good transition point to move over into uh, what if, because one of the things I really liked about Visions is that they really are like individual episodes, individual stories, and all
Yeah,
that. Different, very different art style with what you're used to seeing. And Star Wars, not Star Wars, uh, what if was kind of this in, like not in the same way at all, in a more predictable formulaic way, but I liked how they were all individual stories, not tied together. You could kind of watch them out of order, whichever one kind of you were interested in, up until the last two episodes here, and
yeah,
all of a sudden it's like, okay, so this isn't like just like a fun like spin-offy type thing here. This is
it's
like
more, of course
just
not.
another story. So before we get into talking about the specifics of what happened, I want to ask a question here. Do you think it's possible for Marvel, for the MCU specifically, to do anything where it's individual
No.
stories here?
No, at
Like
this point,
they can tie in still, but just individual set things that maybe are referenced later. Maybe you pull characters to and from, but it's not like building up to something or
Well,
ramping up here.
do you think it's basically can they do something like Star Wars Vision, which is completely isolated, but it's isolated from everything else, but also kind of brings in characters from himself? And the answer is no. I don't think they have that ability anymore. Because I had always heard from the beginning that this is tied to the MCU.
Yeah, and I know it was gonna be. I had known it was gonna be tied to the MCU and all that. I knew that one character from whatever, at least one, is supposed to make an appearance in the live action films. Uh, at some point, now that everyone's speculating either Captain Carter or evil Doctor Strange. Um,
I
Or
think
like
you could be the Watcher.
yeah,
but you can have that and then still have an individual story here where you can kind of just take the episodes and watch them. You can watch one episode and it's fine. You don't need a broader context necessarily. And they
Yeah,
were almost there if they kind of kept the individual story arc up. But I really don't think that they they become known for that certain kind of style in storytelling where it always has to build up to something. And I think that they're kind of too far down to escape from that now,
yeah.
where they were almost doing what Visions was doing, where it's just individual neat stories that can't really exist in the MCU that we have, but you can kind of tell them from a context of okay, this is the multiverse now or whatever. But even that, they were trying to tie it together to some overarching point.
I feel like
And yeah,
they've been trying to. They've been building up to something like this ever since the Marvel versus DC comic run that they had way back in the early 2000s, late 90s. I can't even
yeah,
remember. But ever since because the hype off of that they got, that was what brought Marvel kind of out of the dust a little bit. And because DC was starting to overrun them in the comic sales and everything. And then that brought a little bit of light to some of the lesser characters of Marvel, and then the whole multiversal thing started happening, and then all the resets over and over and over again, and then come to find out, nope, not reset, just different multiverse.
yeah,
I think Marvel has dug themselves into such a deep hole that the only way to get out of it is to dig sideways and then dig up. Because that's how much work it's going to take to fix the problem that they have now.
yeah,
I'm not necessarily complaining because I kind of liked how what they're doing with What If, especially if this isn't going to be the only season of it. This is just the
yeah.
first season of it. Um, at least they do it well, and it's not too repetitive. It's a
right.
little predictable, but at the same time, it's, I don't know, something about it just seems definitely a little forced.
Yeah.
Brennan, for you, was it when WandaVision in episode 4, they're just oh, so we're not just getting um what is it, the homages to all this stuff, we're gonna actually have outside storylines and stuff like that, or is it a little bit different?
Oh, sorry. There's one point you saying that where your audio had frozen. You said episode 4 of what?
WandaVision, was it like that in terms of
Oh,
you being
yeah,
this again?
yeah. Kind of I just had a weird kind of just at the very end of the party Thor episode, which honestly was not one of my favorite episodes of what if. I really feel with the series, it's kind of there are good episodes and then there are bad ones because there are just
Yeah.
there are a lot of different a lot of different things that they can do and are doing here. And I really didn't like the Party Thor episode as much. But then at the very end, when Ultron Asian walked out of the portal and the Watcher was like, "Wait, what is this?" I was like, I just kind of it's kind of I would expect to be excited in a moment like that, be like, "Ooh, they're building up something." I was kind of just like, because then it makes things more complicated than I think this show needs to be.
Right.
Because there are a Falcon and the Winter Soldier and WandaVision and Loki. All of them were very different styles of shows, but they all took themselves seriously, and I feel that let them kind of do more things, uh, like they could tackle bigger conflicts because they were taking themselves seriously and approaching these big conflicts and all that. Right. But like when you get to the end of like an episode about if Thor was like a rat dude, and all of a sudden there's like this huge like this like there's this big battle building up. You're like, well, that just changes the tone of the episode like entirely here. Because like with that, it also there are questions that you have to ask because it's like, oh, I thought Infinity Stones were only supposed to work in like the multiverse and like in like the universe that they're from. Are they working in this universe here now? What's going to happen? And I really don't think that the show has the framework to tackle those questions correctly.
Not in one episode.
Well, yeah, but like even there's only one episode really left now. I don't think that they've really even started to tackle those kinds of questions.
I think they're trying to just go off of like assumptions that they know most of the fan base has already. Because one of the things I was thinking about when I saw that, when like once Ultron Vision gets all of the Infinity Stones, you saw how when he picked it up, it was like the nanobots or whatever.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, it kind of makes sense of how they were able to work outside, at least in that like one specific note, how they can work outside of the outside of their universe is that because Vision or Ultron Vision is made from an AI based off of how the Mind Stone works, it's like it already knows how to communicate with the other Power Stone, with the other Infinity Stones, and allowing him to have full access to what they can or cannot do. But yeah, that's just like that's definitely like a throwaway, don't really think about it too hard kind of thing, that they're just like, hey, this is cool.
Yeah. It's like we were talking about during Loki, like the first couple episodes. Oh, it's supposed to happen.
Yeah. Oh, it's supposed to happen there. Yeah, that line that I added, it was just such a funny kind of like, oh, just this is fine. Just we couldn't really think of a reason for the premise of our show, so like it was supposed to happen here. It's kind of like
it was bound. It was bound to at some point.
Yeah,
right.
Because of the endless possibilities of there being a multiverse, whatever can and might happen will happen at some point.
Yeah.
So,
and like I think kind of indirectly that like circles back to like another point I have about the show is kind of the way it was marketed. It's like these stories where it's just like these one-off stories where you can watch them and only them, not need the broader context. And it's like, it's like, you have a friend who likes Doctor Strange, who wants to watch like the episode with like evil Doctor Strange, or someone who likes the Tony Stark and like a Killmonger arc and wants to watch just that one. Then you don't need like to watch other episodes to know like kind of what's going on there. And it was like that up until like the Party Thor episode, and that episode is like still fun in its own. It's just the one scene at the very end. But episode 8, it's kind of really hard to watch that one without watching other episodes just towards the very end, where it's like, you bring in evil Doctor Strange. If you don't watch the Doctor Strange episode, you're like, who is this? Kind of what's going on? What are they talking to? And what are they talking about? And in their conversation here. And I was really looking forward to when I first saw the list of like what each episode would be about, the Vision, Ultron, Infinity Stone episode. I think it was just titled that in one of the list titles.
I remember we found that, and it was man, they really did have all of that in that episode.
I was really looking forward to. Oh, sorry, yeah.
Oh no, I was just gonna say it was like the Vision, Ultron, the Infinity Stones, and like the
Yeah, you're right.
I
Invasion
think
verse or something like
Thanos.
that. Yeah, and
I think
There was
Thanos.
one
Yeah,
more
Thanos
something
thing
was
like
I
that.
got.
another thing that was in there.
But yeah, I was really looking forward to that episode because I thought I thought like how in the other episodes of What If, it always starts off with like a recognizable scene from the movie or a recognizable context or whatever. And the Ultron one that we just got did not start with that kind of thing at all. And it talked about through like very quick flashbacks, kind of the events that led up to this that we know from the Age of Ultron movie. But I was looking forward to seeing it like play out in the scope of like the movie scenes, but animated like we've gotten in all the past episodes. And this one, like, it was still a really cool episode. I liked a lot. I liked seeing the Watcher finally kind of interact and kind of get more of his story. That was so cool. But like, I wish it was marketed more like that then, more like a series instead of like an episodic thing. It's probably just only me because like I
More
know
like an
that like
anthology.
Yeah,
You
yeah
wish it had
yeah
been marketed as like a big overarching thing instead of an anthology. I gotcha.
yeah just because like when they market it so hard as like in as as like an episodic thing where like each episode would be kind of its own story and that's it, and you could like go back and like watch particular stories. I just feel like it's just kind of it's they're like, oh, ta-da, it's in it's
yeah.
it's like a series here. I'm kind of like, oh, I'm actually more sad now than I like. I was excited when you were lying to me here. And you told me the truth, and I'm like, well, okay, that's cool, I guess.
I
You
feel
just
like
told me not to get my hopes up.
I feel like if they like put this on TV instead of Disney Plus, it would have been more
Hmm.
like an actual like individual episode thing. Because it's when you put it on a streaming service, they really want you to like binge everything all at once.
Right.
Yeah.
Excuse me. You know, aside from when it's first coming out and they're like trying to get the ratings and the money in, but like once it's out, and you can just binge the whole thing.
Yeah.
It would be like the way I think about it is nobody watches or talks about Love Death Robots anymore, and that the second
Right.
season just came out during the summer, and I
Mhm.
thought the second season was kind of subpar from the first season, so it kind of makes sense that if you play too much with the individual episode thing, especially with animation, it kind of gets like a when you can watch it all at once, it takes away from the individuality of each
Right.
episode.
Right.
I found myself doing that with the Vision, watching it all today too. Because if I had taken it like 2 episodes a day or something like that, I would have been able to absorb the episodes a lot more, as opposed to if they were one old overarching story. I could rewatch the Marvel What If all the way through once that last episode comes out just to get it like a refresher. But not even really, because you only need, I think, like 2 or 3 extra episodes. Yeah,
Yeah.
just 2, because it's the Doctor Strange and then the last 2 episodes.
It'll be
Mhm.
kind of interesting to see how in the last episode they like end up like wrapping things up. If like it stays kind of just him, or if they bring in characters from like all the past
Well,
episodes
do you
for
remember
battle.
the? Do you remember the? There was a scene in the trailer that was like the. Remember in the first Avengers where they all just kind of like are in a circle and it goes around them. It was like that, but it was with like
Oh,
Captain Carter, Gamora, uh,
I
We
forgot
haven't
about
seen,
that.
T'Challa, etc.
we
Oh
So
haven't
wow.
seen
they're gonna do
Gamora
that.
at
They're gonna
all
bring
yet.
them all in. Again, they
Yeah,
just released a poster on Instagram today with Gamora wearing the
Oh yeah.
Thanos gear. So
Okay.
yeah.
Well, this is gonna be because like what like I just really liked the idea of this series as like a supplemental to the MCU where it is canonized. It all really does happen in the multiverse, but you don't need to know it for the story of like of like the MCU, what's going on in like the main universe and all that. What I'm just kind of scared of is that for Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, it kind of looks like right now to understand what happens in that movie, you will need to have watched Doctor Strange, like the first movie, and WandaVision, and Loki, and Avengers Infinity War, like
And what
Avengers Endgame, and Spider-Man,
Yeah.
Like No Way Home. And then if we also have to watch What If on top of that, it's like that's just like I get that the MCU, to have these interconnected stories, that's kind of how things have to work. But like you don't have to add, like you don't have to take a series that could have been something else and turn it into the kind of like required watching. And so like I've really mixed it all depends on how the last episode ends up being. Like I've still had a lot of fun watching these episodes, and I really do like the concept of this series. It just kind of feels like they're unnecessarily turning it into something that it didn't necessarily have to be.
They're MCUing it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think it doesn't seem like they're gonna try to connect it to the MCU like directly. Like I'm pretty sure that one character they're having coming over is gonna be like the Watcher or some others like all-knowing celestial being if it's not him, or maybe it's like the new Watcher or something. But it would be kind of hard to get people on board. I feel like to have a animated series and go, hey, this is connected to this live action stuff. And you're going to be like, well, how does that work? Because when I see it here, he's live action. But when I see it here, it's animated. It doesn't make sense from a small monkey brain. So I feel like they are going to at least keep it contained to everything that has happened and What If
I don't know.
is
But
going
that
to
is
be just this.
That does bring up an interesting point, though, because I mean, this is something that's like owned by Disney now, and Disney actually has done kind of similar things before.
Right.
We have the closest neighbor, Star Wars, where there is
Star Wars.
yeah, there is a lot of stuff that like either started off as live action and then moved over in to like the cartoon world and stuff from the cartoon world that we've now seen become live action.
Yeah.
So
true.
I wonder if Disney would actually take those steps there.
I mean, I feel like it works better for Star Wars just because of what they did with the Clone Wars show, at least. I mean,
It works because we've known it worked. Because like it's been around for so long, we just know it works. Like this would be brand new for the MCU. So I mean,
yeah,
I don't know. That's just
it's different. I don't know. I feel like once they do that, though, especially knowing Disney, once they know that they can go back and forth between animation and live action, they're going to start having stuff from the comics connect, and that would be cool. Don't get me wrong, but then that ostracizes an entire medium because it's like if you don't know about what's going on in the comics, then you're not going to know what's going on in this show, this specific show, which explains what's going on in this movie, which explains what's going on in this animated series, which is tied to this whole comic run that has been going on for the past 30 years. Like what?
I mean,
even hardcore comic book readers don't even like know everything in the Marvel universe. Like,
yeah, exactly. So, i.e., me and us, basically. So,
I've only been reading comics for a year, so I mean,
just imagine here, like 10 or 20 years from now, it's like the next MCU movie is about to be released, but like before that, you have to watch this live action series on Disney Plus and this animated series on Disney Plus, and or read this comic book and read this actual book and like the official
book.
like, MCU box of cereal, and then like listen to the official MCU podcast, and just they have like all the different mediums. They just like cramming into this bag, and they're like, if you can't keep up with this, it's on you.
Like you're gonna pay for it either way. So,
Bro, and you'll have those people who like listen and watch and read everything. It's like, oh, you guys haven't read and watched this. You're not a real fan.
and then that's
I'm
when
sorry, I have a life.
Yeah, and it's like I know I'm not a real fan. I'm fine with that. I need 10 hours of my day back here. I can't keep up with this.
Yeah.
Oh, you're lying,
Yeah.
Brennan. You're not on the
But yeah, like all in all, I am enjoying the what if series still. I know sometimes like I talk about things like this, it's like, oh, you know, you're just not enjoying it. I honestly am, but it's not what I initially expected. But I'm excited to kind of see how it is wrapped up here.
Yeah.
I was having fun with the show, you know. It's just every little individual story, and then look, I don't mind the everything tying together. Like, you know, once I saw that scene where all these different characters from different episodes were like seen in the Avengers circle, I was like, all right, cool. Um, I can understand where you're coming from and not liking it, or like being like, ugh, I thought we were getting something standalone for once, but and I mean, you felt the same way with, or not standalone in that sense, but you felt the same way with episode 4 of WandaVision. So I mean,
Yeah,
you
I
know,
was like, oh, a new kind of idea for a series, and it's like, oh, it's not that old new of an idea because they had to like pause it and explain everything that happened.
Yeah.
The first episode, like step by step, scene by scene. I was like, okay, well,
yeah, but yeah, no, I'm enjoying it too so far. It's not something like I don't think I'm ever gonna watch it again. To be honest with you, it's been fun,
yeah,
but
Yeah.
it's not one of those shows where I go back and watch 100 times, like I
Definitely.
probably will end up doing with WandaVision.
yeah.
God, I love that show.
And like and I do feel part of the reason was like I don't know, I expected more of the animation style. I expected them to kind of use the medium a bit more, but like it felt like very plain. Like a lot of scenes seem kind of like empty when like you know you're using like animation, like you can animate whatever you want in the background, and they're just kind of choosing to leave like blank walls and all this stuff. And it's like, you know, because there was someone who like did in who did like in analysis comparing the Killing Joke comic book and and the Killing Joke animated a movie, and like point out like the reason that like the Killing Joke comic book worked is because of all the detail that was put into like each of the like scenes. I don't know what they're called in comic books. You know, the little square things.
The panels.
Yeah, the panels. There's a lot of like there's a lot of detail and like attention paid, like what was in the background here and like what's going on. And
That's true. Yeah.
and they came up with like the animated movie, and it was just blank walls. And it's not fun to watch, and there's nothing to really like you look at those extra details about like what drives a character. It's like, what else can I infer about this character from what's in the background? You know, what can I learn here?
I gotta say though, I gotta stop you right there for that one, Brett.
Yeah?
Sorry. So,
All right.
He's not.
I can
with your hot
see,
take.
huh?
I said he's not with your hot take, Brennan.
I'm just a little off board with it, only because I can understand where they're coming from with that. But if you really look at what's going on in the Killing Joke, it's more or less focused on the actual conversations that are being had between the Joker and everybody. Because every person that the Joker interacts with during the Killing Joke, something happens with them that changes how their character is for like either the rest of the book or the rest of, you know, the continuity. Because there is a continuity of that they brought back with the Three Jokers storyline, which is also insane, by the way. I hope they do that in a movie or something. But with the Killing Joke movie, I kind of liked how just being able to hear Joker say all it takes is one bad day in the same tone that it was portrayed as in the comic was like, it was beautiful. But I think in that aspect, if Marvel wants to be able to do the same thing, they really have to pay attention to the writers that they have for the comic books and the writers that they have for the movies and the writers that they have for the shows, because it doesn't seem like anybody's getting along.
Yeah,
Yeah, overall tone.
I think a good comparison or is that uh Clone Wars feels like Star Wars, you know,
Yeah,
and they do a good job at paying attention to the details in the background. And I know at first the animation was rough, but they did a good job at eventually catching up with all the details and stuff like that. They made it really feel like Star Wars, which is where this is just kind of feels like it just feels what for one it feels rushed. Every episode feels rushed. Maybe if they had like an extra 15 minutes, it wouldn't.
yeah,
But
that's true.
and I don't know. It almost seems like the animation style they use is like almost done rendering. It's just a weird animation style.
Yeah,
But like I don't know. I completely agree with you guys. It's just like I said, I like the show, but it's not something they've not made it something that I want to rewatch.
yeah,
Except
that's true.
except maybe the all the Avengers die episode. That was a really good episode.
Yeah,
It's not done rendering.
yeah. If they had let it sit in the computer and cook a little bit more, you know. Yeah, I think that was another thing though they had that was just a little bit of a disconnect because you have the characters in the MCU. We all love them because of the actors that are playing them. Because if you think about it, Captain America didn't really have much of a voice or much of a face in the comics because he's just your everyday blonde eyed, blonde haired, blue eyed dude. I just, listen, no, yeah, but I feel like in the comics, having him just be so, he's an everyday dude, but in the live action, seeing him do all this stuff and just be Chris Evans is it just it's weird trying to see those characters be brought back into that like a colorful art style like it is, especially because of how like stiff it is, not very emotive. It's weird. It's like if you're going to use these same characters and have it connected like it seems like they want to or not, then don't bank so hard on the actual actors that you have
Right.
for these characters because then
Right.
you're like writing it for the actor as opposed to writing it for the character.
Hmm.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah. We're gonna have to wrap up here because Brennan's no longer recording because of some reason. It just has an error. But so I I don't know. I have no idea. I hope you are. Because otherwise it's just silence and then me talking to no one.
Yeah.
But you're here, but you're not here. Actually, it might just be your video. Hopefully, your audio still is fine. But
It seems like, from what I can see, it seems like everybody's audio is still going,
oh, no,
but I guess.
it came back. It came back. Now it's bad. Now it's gone again. Because this participant Brennan question mark is having. Oh my god! It doesn't even. It's not Brennan. It's having a problem. Participant failed with error. No more content being created. And it did it again. Anyway, so we'll wrap this up.
Yeah.
But RJ, thank you for joining us again, as always.
Of course. I'm
Um,
to work on being more present because I love doing
good.
this.
It's all good. We'll get an episode of Real Shit out to everyone soon. We got stuff. We have plans for this month that may or may not work out, but we'll try to make them work.
Yeah. Do you have like a list already? Because I got.
I can make one. I know he's failed. My God. Anyway, yeah, I got something going. So, for Brennan, in case this didn't record all the way through, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to follow us at Chip Roasting on Instagram. Subscribe here. Subscribe to Brennan's channel, which is not Brennan. If you see RJ on the internet, ask him why he didn't delete the internet. And if follow him at Lay RJ Broom. And we'll see you guys another time. Peace.